Hi guys, how are you doing today? If you're new here, my name is Rodian and welcome to the channel. So today I was going to be getting the trowel out and start showing you the basics of bricklaying, a few little techniques to get you going, but I've decided against that. Today I'm going to be talking about trowels. Now I did a tool bag review a couple of episodes ago. If you haven't seen that, then there's a link up here and also down in the description where I go through my bag and show you exactly what's in my tool bag, what most bricklayers have, and there was quite a lot of tools in there. But the one that I just very quickly glossed over was the trowel. Now, as a bricklayer, this is going to be in your hand 90% of the time. So it seemed pertinent to make a video specifically talking about trowels. Now, what is the best bricklaying trowel? Now this is a question that I don't think anyone can answer for anyone else. You have to answer it for yourself. Now for me, this is the best bricklaying trowel because it's the one I use and it's the one I've got most comfortable with. Now, I'll give you a quick overview of all the different types of trowels because there's not just one type. I've got two here. I've got a Philadelphia pattern trowel and a London pattern trowel. Now there are a whole heap of other ones, but these two I would say are the most common, and there is also a wide London pattern trowel which is relatively common, but I'd say those three are the most common ones. Now I'll just quickly show you a little picture of basically, I think it's 9 trowels and they're all, some of them are quite odd shapes, but right, okay, let's have a quick look. Right, so as you can see at the top, we'll go from the top left to right and then work our way down. So we have the first one. As you can see, this is from Marshalltown. Now I do use Marshalltown, but I'm not very picky about brands. I think they're all much the same. Obviously the cheaper ones, well, I'll get to that in a bit. Let's just talk about patterns first. Right, okay, so first off, top left, Philadelphia pattern trowel. Then you go across to the London pattern trowel. As you can see, the heel, which is the base of it, closest to the handle, is a lot thinner. And then move along one from there, it's wide London pattern trowel, which is, I think it's a nice contrast. It's sort of a middle ground between Philadelphia and London pattern. And then from there you go down to ones which I think are a little bit more specific, is if you want a particular type and you enjoy that type. These, I don't think you'll find them in most stores. You'd probably have to buy them online. If you go to a store that specialises in trowels and brickwork and things like that, then you will find these. But so we go along to a wide heel, which is, I find it a bit too big. And then we go to extra wide heel, extra wide square heel. These are kind of all sort of in the same kind of league. Wide square heel, round heel, and then the final one, which I have never seen before, the Boston pattern. Now from wide heel all the way through to round heel, to be perfectly honest with you, once you start using a trowel, if you've used it for a while, in my opinion, they're all going to turn into roughly the same shape. Because when you use a trowel, it sort of goes into the same shape of how you lay and how you move the trowel and how you scrape it along the bricks, and it will wear away after time, and they do change shape. So there are quite a few differences in trowels. Now, what trowel for what purpose? Now, a lot of people, me included, well, I started with this trowel here. This was my first ever trowel, London pattern trowel, and as you can see the handle's gone, it's very rusty, I haven't used that in a long time. Now, I think that's a wide pattern London trowel, because if you put that against a regular London pattern trowel, well, saying that, there ain't much of a difference. So there's only a tiny little, don't know if you can see that, but there's just a tiny little bit on the edge here, but that's probably due to wear and tear. Now these trowels, before you start going mad in the comments, haven't looked after these trowels, these are very old. I think this is my dad's old trowel, and as you can see, very dirty, but it's only ever been used for clearing out the mixer. So London pattern to Philadelphia pattern, there is quite a difference. If you can see there, the Philadelphia pattern has got a wider heel, so you can get, I find you can get more on it. And also with the London pattern trowel, I find that the end is too pointy. I know there's not much difference in it, but I find the end too pointy when you're laying bricks. I don't find the balance is very nice. When it comes to this, I find the balance is a lot heavier at the bottom, so the centre, not really the centre of gravity, but the turning point is very, very easy around sort of the bottom of the handle, the heel area. But the balance is very nice in the middle there, whereas with the London pattern, I find that the balance is a lot more front heavy. So I started with a London pattern, but I moved on to a Philadelphia, and I find this is the perfect shape. Now when it comes to brands, I use a Marshalltown 1911, 11 inch, we'll get onto sizes in a minute. Brands, I don't think there's much difference. A lot of people use Marshalltown, a lot of people use Ox, and there's one that I've never tried, W Rose. I think that's an American brand. I have never tried them, but apparently they're mustard, so maybe one day I'll give it a go. But when it comes to the cheaper brands, you see how there's not a great deal of flex in that, only a little bit. I find that with the cheaper ones, there's a lot more flex. So this one is a cheaper one, this is from Wicks. So you can see the difference straight away, that's much more flex in it. I prefer one with not as much flex in it, so hence this one, which is quite sturdy. I don't like it flexing around. When I'm laying bricks, when you're pressing down, you don't want it wobbling around all over the place. That's just my personal preference. I know some people, like my dad, who does prefer, he prefers the cheaper brands. He prefers more flex. He's not really that bothered what he uses. And again, that is down to personal preference. A lot of this is down to personal preference. Now, when it comes to sizes, if you're new and you're watching this and you're looking to buy a trowel and you're not sure which one to go for, I use an 11 inch, but I would advise newbies, apprentices, or someone who is just having a go, I would say start with a 10 inch. I know there's only an inch and there's not much in it, well, that's what she said, but I would say go for the smaller one, and it depends, but I'd probably say try a London pattern to start with. But that's just my opinion, that's how I did it, because there's not as much weight when you're laying using a London pattern. It's a lot lighter, you can't get as much, I don't think you can get as much muck on the trowel, and when you're doing it along, it's a lighter trowel to use, I find. When it comes to a Philadelphia pattern, you can get a lot more in there. Again, with a wide London pattern, you can get a lot more muck on there, and with that 11 inch, it's that little bit longer, so you get that little bit more muck on it. And the reason why I'm saying this is because if you're not used to using your wrist all day, every day, 8 hours a day laying bricks, then you can have trouble. You can have an aching wrist. I know I did when I first started, and especially when I moved on to a larger trowel, I did get a bit of an ache. Now that is just something that you're going to have to get used to, because your body is not used, that part of your body is not used to doing all that work, doing all that wriggling around. Like if you go from just being at school or college and tapping away on the computer or drawing or whatever it is you do, and then you go on to doing this all day, every day, you're using muscles that you haven't used before, and they don't like it, so they're going to be like, ow, that hurts. So I would definitely advise getting a 10 inch to start with, possibly a London pattern, and just see how it goes from there. But even more so, what I would suggest is go to a store. Don't just buy one online, go to a store, feel them out, have them in your hand, and just try them out and just flick it around a little bit, see how you feel. Like straight away, I just don't like this trowel at all. It's not nice at all. So that one I can't really flick it around, it ain't got a handle, but I can feel that, again, that is a little heavier on the trowel side of it, so when you put muck on it, it is even heavier. So that's just my personal preference. In my opinion, this is the pièce de la résistance. So going back to the title, thumbnail, is this the best trowel for bricklaying? For me, it is, because it's mine and I'm used to it and I've been using it for years. I've worn it away and it's just suited my style. So in answer to that question, what is the best bricklaying trowel you can buy? The best bricklaying trowel you can buy is the one that you feel most comfortable with. Don't let people take the piss out of you because you've got a Wicks trowel. If that's the one that you like and it's handy because it's cheaper, if that's the one you like, then go for that one. I had a comment the other day from someone saying that our JCB level's any good because he's got some and on site they're taking the piss out of him. Who cares? As long as your level works and it reads true, who gives a monkey's where it's from? It could be a wooden one. Well, I probably wouldn't advise using a wooden one, but I mean, if it works, it works. I'd stay clear of wooden ones, just FYI. But same with trowels. Obviously, the cheaper trowels, the longevity is something that you take into consideration as well. They probably won't last as long, but in all honesty, trowels aren't that expensive, especially the cheaper ones. I think that's only about 15 quid. It's been a long time since I bought a trowel, so I think these are about 40 quid. I can't remember. I'll leave links down in the description to all these trowels and any other ones that I think might be very well suited. I'll put some Marshalltown ones down there, I'll put some Ox ones down there, and I think if I can find some Rose ones, I'll put some of those down there as well. So have a little look down there and see what you think. But like I said, in the end of it, what's the best trowel for laying bricks? It is the one that you feel most comfortable with, the one that I guess, yeah, you just feel most comfortable with. You might have to try a few to get the one that you like. I've gone through a couple, like these ones in particular. That brings me on to something else I just remembered. This one in particular, I use this for bricklaying and block laying. Now a lot of people, they'll have one for block and one for brick. Now the way that I did it is, this is my brick and block trowel because I've only got one. Now if I was to buy a new trowel, brand spanker, I'd continue using this one for brickwork, and I'd have the new one just for block work, just to break it in, because when you first get the trowel, it's straight out of the factory as you would expect, and there's nothing that's been worn down. Like this handle has been worn down where I have my hands and fingers in a specific place. So when you get it, it's brand spanking new, and it can feel kind of a little bit alien in your hand. So you need to have that bit of time to wear it in. Essentially get those little marks where you start scraping away, but more importantly to me is on the handle, for the handle to feel nice. When you buy a new one, it feels a little bit odd. So it takes a while for it to get used to it. Now when it comes to brickwork, I always use the one that I'm more comfortable with because it's going to be seen. 95% of the time brickwork is going to be seen and blockwork is not going to be seen. So if there's some tiny little discrepancy in something somewhere, you shouldn't have, because you're a bricklayer and you should be bloody good at what you do. But just, it's easier because if there is that slight little mistake for some reason on the facework, it's going to be seen. That's where you use the good one for the brickwork and use your brand new one for blockwork, just to wear it in, just so you get that comfortable feeling out of it. Now the last thing I'd like to talk about is handles. Now I have got what is called a Durasoft handle. It's not rubber, it's not plastic, it's kind of a bit of both. You can get leather handles, you can get wooden handles, you can get the Ox ones specifically have like more of a rubbery feel, and the old Marshalltowns, they didn't used to have the lettering on the side of the handle, and I prefer that because you sometimes, I don't know, sometimes I run my thumb over the M and I'm used to it now, but to start with, I found it a bit annoying. I didn't like it. We are very picky, us bricklayers, because letters on the side of our handle we're not too fussy about. But anyway, so that's just one little gripe I had. But on the whole, I like Marshalltown. I mean, if someone wants to send me a trowel to have a go with, I'll try something else. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So why would I change? It has just started to rain, so I'll probably bring this to a close. And let me know down in the comments, what do you guys think? What do you guys have as trowels? What brand do you have? Do you have an allegiance to a certain brand? Do you have an allegiance to a certain pattern? What do you think are the pros and cons to certain patterns, like Philadelphia pattern? I like it. Some people like Philadelphia pattern for just laying blocks because you get more muck on there. Some people like London pattern for laying bricks. There's so many different people who like it so many different ways, which is kind of expected. But it's good that we have a nice wide selection on the market. So yeah, let me know down in the comments what you reckon about your trowel. What's your favourite trowel? Is there any trowels that I should try? Now I know already that a lot of you are going to say W Rose, and I might go down that road one day, but for the time being I'm going to stick with my Marshalltown 1911. If you've enjoyed this video, do leave a like down below, subscribe if you aren't already, and next episode, I promise, we will have this down and we will start on bricklaying basics with the trowel, bit of muck, get a few bricks laid. I'm going to buy some brand new bricks, so we're not going to have these old reclaims. We'll have a nice crisp new brick. So if you're interested in that, then do stick around, and I will see you guys next episode. So take care, hope you enjoy. See you later.